WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, our website, www.wvtcradio.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users. Thank you for tuning to WVTC Radio Detroit and the Community Bell Show with your host, former Wayne County Commissioner Edna Bell. Stay tuned for insightful information Detroiters will find valuable. Text a friend and tell them to watch with you for news you can use. And now, your host, Edna Bell.
Nothing's gonna stop us now. We on our path, we got our crowns. Magnificent, we loving it. Purpose driven, pay it forward like we champions. Nothing's gonna stop us now. We on our path, we got our crowns. Magnificent, we loving it. Purpose driven, pay it forward like we champions. What my life was like before I met with Christ. Self-ambition, pride of life, lost everything. Dark and pain, in and out of depression, awful foolish game. And on my path, I thought at times for me to give up, time's up, it was over mine. And at this time, just falling down. Had the enemy all up in my head trying to take my crown. Then I got on the ground, repented to Christ. He gave me life, said, King, get up and live it right. Now here we go, back on the road, never stopping it. Ain't nothing stopping this. The difference Jesus made in my life. Victorious, walking in his might. Notorious, he did away with sin. Glorious, because of him we win. Nothing's gonna stop us now. We on our path, we got our crowns. Magnificent, we loving it. Purpose driven, pay it forward like we champions. He gave his life, put your hands up, rep for Christ. Live your life, walk by faith and not by sight. Pride of life, Satan wants to steal your light. Take you out, that's out. We win, in and out, we blessed. We living our life zest. We supernaturally blessed. We passing all the tests. Rising to the next level. Clowning, stomping on them devils. Satan scheming hard. Be prepared for it. Like waves in the ocean, he's constant with his tricks. Technology, he wants it in your hands. The mark of the beast to work his master plan. But see the master's plan, designed before man. Here from the beginning with God in heaven. He conquered sin, Jesus Christ, resurrected, eternal life. Through heaven's tongues, he plans to prosper you. The Holy Ghost to speak eternal truths. The Comforter, he is my friend. Victory, because of him we win. Nothing's gonna stop us now. We on our path, we got our crowns. Magnificent, we loving it. Purpose driven, pay it forward like we champions.
Hello, everyone. It's Monday, 4 o'clock, so it must be the Community Bell Show. This is probably one of the saddest shows I will probably do. And it's simply because of my good friend and my brother for the last 40 years, Ray Solomon, passed away last week. Ray and I have been through lots and lots of wars and parties and places around the country and have done all sorts of wonderful things. And so I thought it fitting to do a tribute to him today. We could never have enough time to really do it justice, but just a few words from just a few people who also know him, who also been through a lot of different events with him. So I'm just glad to have a couple of people on today to talk about it. But the first one I want you to hear about from is Mr. Political Detroit, and that's Mr. Eddie McDonald. Eddie McDonald, how are you?
Commissioner, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm getting better.
That's good.
I'm not
That's good.
I'm not well yet, but I know it's coming. I'm just waiting for the Lord to help me through this. But I'm better. I'm getting better.
You'll be fine. Last week was a rough week for everybody, but especially for you. I know how close you guys were.
Yes, yes, yes. But I wanted to do this today, particularly just to try and talk about some things. But you know how much he was involved in politics, and I want you to talk about how you met him and the kinds of things you guys were involved in. And I want to go back to campaigns back to 1995 when we were earlier than that, we were in the Clinton campaign and the Gore campaign and all the other campaigns we've gone through, but in particular the Obama campaign, when we had such hard times, but good times together. So talk a little bit about how you met Ray and what you know of Ray.
Well, when it comes to Ray, in all honesty, I've got to go back probably until about 1986. And
Okay.
I met Ray at that time through our good friend of mine, Representative Mayor Charlie Harrison out of Pontiac. Charlie asked me to come to a function down in Detroit, and I came to the function down in Detroit along with the Hubert Price and Walter Moore, and met a lot of people in Detroit for the very, very first time. And that's where I met Ray and have known him forever, and never believing that one day we'd be so close and I'd be living in Detroit and working various campaigns, and he'd end up being one of the generals on those campaigns once I got to Wayne County. But yeah, we go back to about 1986 with Ray.
And isn't that interesting? And for those of you who don't know, Eddie is originally from Pontiac. Many of you probably think he's an original Detroiter. You've seen him around so long, but he's originally from Pontiac.
Yes, indeed, indeed. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, and later on, after I left Congressman Bob Carr in 1994, we lost that Senate race. We won the primary, but lost the Senate race. And I got invited to come work for Mr. McNamara and got reacquainted heavily with Ray, and have been thick as thieves ever since that time. I mean,
Yes.
Ray was one of the original members of the AT that we had with Mr. McNamara, and
yes,
learned a lot.
I was going to mention that.
Yeah,
Talk about the A-team.
I learned a lot from him. In fact, it was Ray who actually came up with the A-team logo. I mean, he basically told Bernard Kilpatrick at that time, who was working for Mr. McNamara, that, look, we're running around here. What do we call ourselves? What are you doing? And you know how Bernard is. Call yourself whatever you want to call it. Ray said, we're going to call ourselves the A-team. He said, well, that's fine. You call yourself the A-team. And that's basically what happened. We took it and ran with it. And it was a great bunch. I mean, Ray was at the head of that bunch, but you also had people like Mike Turner, and you had people like Greg Roberts was on that squad. And you had Jim House that was part of that, Cassandra Smith Gray, any number of people, Gerard Grant Phillips, Hurley Coleman. We just had a great team.
You mentioned those names, and those names are people that, go way back.
Yeah.
Way back. Entrenched in politics in the area.
Yeah.
But forget about James House and, oh, my.
Right. And Bill Lattimore. I mean, can't forget about Bill Lattimore. Can't forget about Mike Turner. I mean, we had a crew. I mean, we really had a crew. And when it came to campaigns, there was no job that Ray would not take on. And people would sit back and they think of Ray as being kind of a quiet guy. Ray was not all that quiet. Ray was a
He
leader.
didn't know it.
He was a
He was
leader.
lying about people he didn't know.
Exactly. And if it was something he wanted to get done and thought you was shucking and jiving about it, he was the first one to let you know, come on, bro, you can do better than that. We're not gonna wait on these people. Let's go get this job done. Say we sitting around waiting on people to drop yard signs. We're gonna go drop them ourselves. And so that's what he did.
He was known for dropping yard signs.
Yep. Yeah, and picking up a few in a day too, in all honesty.
We won't talk about that part. He was known.
But he was just a beautiful person, and he always had time for other people. And I'm not sure a lot of people, well, you know, but a lot of people don't know. Ray adopted a lot of people throughout the state of Michigan. I won't say the city of Detroit, I say the state of Michigan. It's because
right.
There was someone who was in need. I mean, Ray could pick up the paper and he'd call me. He said, Mac, we need to do something about this group over on this lady on the west side. I said, west side of Detroit? No, she's out of Benton Harbor. I said, Ray, Benton Harbor, what was it? Well, she had a fire, she was burnt out. I said, okay, let's see what we can do. Soon enough, we get on the phone, we make a few calls on that side, and you know, thanks to Ray, we found the lady someplace to live. They had food, they had clothes, but that was Ray. You didn't have to be Detroit. You could be anywhere, but if you were in need and he knew about it, he was not going to go to bed unless he did something about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that was the special part about him. His quiet strength and the way he went about things, people didn't know half the things that he did.
It's true.
Because he just did them because he felt they were the right things to do. They were helping people, and he just did them. Back in the 80s, when I was on the school board, is when I first met Ray, early 80s, and we were having all sorts of trouble with some things in the school system and so on. But actually, would have been back in the 70s because it was before I was on the school board. And one of the schools, and my kids happened to have gone to that school, Barton McFarland, they were youngsters in that then, had some issues. And so Ray and I and Helen Moore and Suzanne Watson and some other folks who lived in the area chained the doors to the school.
Mm-hmm.
We just stuff down.
Right.
Say it back then.
Right.
But okay. We wanted to select the principal in the school was not doing right by our children. Chained the doors to the school, wouldn't let anybody in.
There you go. There you go.
We got a chance to select the principal for the school. That principal was, what was his name? Carpenter. That was his name, Mr. Carpenter.
Okay.
And Art Jefferson became superintendent. He was an area person. He was the area person who we had locked out in his district. So he came and talked to us and said, what do you guys need? And so it went back to the late 70s when they wanted to bus our children from Barton School. We said, no, you're not busing the kids. Our kids, the school is great. We're going to keep them right here.
Mm-hmm.
And they did not bus them. And that's really originally how I got involved in politics, because at the time I was a wonderful little person doing my job at Michigan Bell Telephone Company, being a little volunteer person, PR person. It was never thought about politics.
Yeah.
And so they came to me one day and said, we want to appoint you to the area board. I said, no, we don't want to do that. I don't do politics. All I do is community work. Lo and behold.
There you go. And Ray would be the first one to tell you, hey man, I don't do politics, I just do people. You know, I try to make sure I try to make sure people were taken care of.
Exactly.
Call it what you want, brother. It's politics.
It's all politics. It's all politics. And go back to 19, and this is the Kilpatrick race.
Yes.
Back 1920,
No.
2021.
Yeah, you gotta believe it or not, it literally was 2001.
Yep, 2001 when Kilpatrick first ran for office, and nobody thought he had a snowball's chance.
that was a time I never forget. We got called into Mr. McNamara's office, and Mr. McNamara had basically said, "Look, I've talked with Bernard, and I've talked with his son, and that's who we're supporting." He says, and I'm picking up the phone, and I'm going to call Gil, and I'm going to let Gil know, because Gil is a good friend, but I want to let Gil know that it's time for some youth, and that's who we're going to support. And Mr. McNamara said, now you guys are in the office. He said, but I want you to reach out to the other appointees. Don't do it now, but after 5 o'clock, reach out to the other appointees and set up a meeting, and we'll come up with the Nickies, and we'll let everybody know exactly where we are. point blank. And that was a tough campaign because, you know, as Black folks go, you know, we were always told to respect our elders. So folks were having a real rough time saying, oh man, we're not gonna go with Gil. We gotta go with Kwame. So we went and we met, we did what we had to do. But as we always said, if you're gonna go at anything, you gotta go at it full force. You gotta be respectful and you gotta be willing to do everything necessary in order to win. And
exactly.
when it came to running campaigns, when it came to putting together a field campaign, when it came to touching seniors, when it came to getting young folks to garner around to assist us, Ray was the best. Some of the first people that we brought on that campaign, they were young folks. And Ray wasn't a young person at the time, but Ray could touch young people that other young people couldn't touch. And so we were able to put together a campaign. We were able to put together that type of campaign. And to this day, I mean, if you would talk to Mayor Kilpatrick or Carolyn or Bernard, they will tell you that when it came time to knock doors, stop in bars, go to beauty and barbershops, churches or whatever, there was no place that Ray did not feel comfortable going.
That's right. And he mentored so many of those young people. That's what it was. They respected him. He would tell them when they were doing wrong.
Yep.
And when they were doing right, he supported them.
Yep.
But even when they did wrong, he didn't throw them away. He still told them what was right and helped them along the way. It was amazing things. And we ran a lot of those campaigns. But when we were on the West Side, we ran out of Third New Hope Church, the basement of Third New Hope. As well, we had our outreach. And boy, I remember the days when we do all of the running around and looking for people who had not voted. We pile the guys in the car and they drop them off on a corner and they can get out and go spread the neighborhood.
And some of our folks in the campaign learned the hard way because they'd pick up the phone and want to reach out to Reverend Branch about something. And Reverend Branch would very politely say, have you spoken to Ray?
Exactly. Nothing went through there unless Ray said so.
So they learned that after a while, that, hey, you know, don't bother the Rev, just check with Ray first. And so that's what was done. But he was just, I mean, you know, he was just a beautiful person, a kind spirit. I'll never forget, I had to go to DC on an errand once to check on some stuff on behalf of my niece, who was a student at Howard University at the time. And I ran into this brother there. And he said, I just want to say hello, because I heard you from Detroit, and my sponsors is from Detroit. I said, your sponsor? See, yeah, I got a sponsor from Detroit. I'm graduating, but I wouldn't have been able to get back to school unless my sponsor got me money to get back in school. I said, who's your sponsor? Ray Solomon Sr. I said, wow. I say, that is beautiful, man. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're getting ready to graduate, and I'll let Ray know I saw you. Now, never saw this young man before in my life. Didn't know me from the man in the moon. All he knew is that my niece said, hey, my uncle's coming up from Detroit to help me out with some stuff. And this guy just had to pass the word. And that's the way Ray was. He did stuff, never looking for anybody to pat him on the back, never looking for any accolades. He just did it.
He just did it. People never knew many of the things he did. He just did. He just did it. And I was just saying to my daughter the other day, I said, now, I wonder who's going to inherit Ray's phone book. Now little Ray could probably auction that off and make a real good amount of money.
If little Ray has it, he says he will hang on to that book. He'll hang on to that book. That's a
boy, that's the book for you. That is a book. Anybody you wanted to know anywhere,
call Ray.
Ray would go to that book and he had it.
He had it. He had
Alicia, did I see you on the line? Alicia?
Hello, how are you?
Hey, Chairwoman, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Wonderful. We're talking about, of course, your Uncle Ray.
Yes.
And you could talk a little bit about your relationship with Ray and all the things he has done in terms of the family, because he's been around as long as you guys have been around practically.
Pretty much. I mean, I can't really remember how we met or when we met. He's just been around forever. And I like the conversation that you talked about with the young people. You know, my group of friends, you know, he became Uncle Ray to them as well. And then he mentored so many people, from Jamil and Allende to Dustin to, you know, so many of our young people around town. And that was, I think, the true spirit of him. He wanted to mentor. He wanted to be that person that people could look up to, and to show and direct people on how to navigate these political waters, and especially in Detroit, because they can be choppy waters, right? So he knew how to negotiate and how to go through that, and he taught us well. And especially the guys. I mean, all of his little mentees are just devastated that he's not here. He's been a part of our family forever, and us a part of his family. So, like I said, it's going to be something not being able to pick up the phone and just call or seek his counsel on things that are going on here in Detroit. So we've absolutely lost the great one. And we've lost so many. I wonder what the future looks like in Detroit with so many of our great leaders and the wisdom that they have gone. So it's just a new territory that we're entering now.
Well, I'll tell you, Chairwoman Bell, I'll tell you exactly what I've been telling people over the weekend. Look in the mirror. He put it in you. Your mother put it in you.
Right.
So you don't have to look for where the leadership is. It's you.
Yeah.
It's you and folks like you. And we'll be there to back you up and support you. But hey, Ray would tell you, go do it. So go do it.
You got it right there. He called me daughter, be like, just go do it, daughter. And so, little Ray, all we wanted to do was to make our parents proud. And we would talk about that, little Ray and I, and how we were glad that they instilled with us the sense of community and the sense of public service. Yep. And like you said, I guess it's our time. They've given us and poured into us everything that we need to excel. So here we go.
I told Ray, and this is probably a month ago, and I told Ray how proud I was of him in terms of everything he had done. He said, "What have I done?" I said, "You're a survivor." He said, "Well, why do you mean I'm a survivor?" I said, "Your father's a survivor, but you are a survivor." I said, "I can't name anybody else that's lasted through 5 mayors."
Isn't that the truth?
Right.
This is Detroit. Appointees don't last through 5 mayors. And I'm not talking about just lasting. You got elevated with each one of them.
Right.
Right. So we're proud of you, so be proud of yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is a rare.
Eddie, I hadn't thought about that, but you're right. Well, I can think of that has lasted all the way through all those mayors.
All of them. All of them.
I don't know anybody else.
Right, you're right. Wow, and his dad and what he learned from his dad has everything to do with that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's one thing to have people around you, but it's one thing to learn from them and be a willing participant to learn. And I think that's important too. And Ray and I both have been very willing participants to learn what Mom and Ray have taught us. So, it's something. We're glad that we can be here and glad that we can walk in their footprints, and thank God that they were here to lead and guide us.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm looking forward to you guys being the 18 number 2. Or so we're going to call it something.
We'll call it something. We'll call it whatever it want to be called. We'll call
it something.
But we're going to need the young people such as yourself and all your young folks and friends to carry this on. When I think about Brian Love and George Davis and Sam Abrams and all Allende and Jamil, even though Allende isn't here anymore, but Jamil is, so we need to make sure.
Yeah, you got Marla Sean out there. There's a lot of you guys have a lot to offer. You've got a lot to offer.
So and somehow, Eddie, we need to get them together, Eddie. I'm now putting it on you. I'm giving you an assignment. We need to get all those young folks together at some point in time when we can get together and start whatever this new A team is, because we're going to need them in the future.
Indeed.
We're going to desperately keep them.
And we tell them, and Ray would tell you, you have more ammunition and more tools at your ready than we ever did. I mean, we were using mimeograph machines and calling each other on the phone and calling the minister and make sure he said something on Sunday. Nobody knew anything about Facebook or Gmail or Twitter or any, but you guys got that right there at your fingertips. So from a war standpoint, going to war, you could put together a war council a lot quicker than we ever could.
Absolutely. And you're right. And we need to do that. We got to get it going because, talking about working on Kwame's campaign, I think that was just so exciting for all of us.
Mhm, mhm.
Young people that we had someone that was going to be in the mayor's office, our age that we grew up with. And, and we have so many more people to follow Kwame and, me and, Virgil and,
Yeah.
Tupac. I mean, we've had a slew of folks. It's just been great. And I
Yeah.
think it is, as you said, our time to take the mantle and run with it and make sure that we make Detroit the city that we want to thrive and live in and raise up our children like we're doing.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And what we need to do is start now because we need to be looking forward to what happens 4 years from now.
I hear you, but as I told the group I spoke to on Saturday, I say we need to be doing it now. Because everybody's talking about 4 years from now, but there's some real nasty stuff that's getting ready to hit us during this midterm if we don't get our act together. First and foremost, we're only going to have 13 seats. We're not going to have 14 seats.
Exactly.
Now, if the language holds, Detroit will still have 2 of those seats. But the problem is where the seats will be located and pitting people against each other can end up being real ugly. No guarantee when it's over and done with, you're going to be looking at 2 African Americans holding those seats if you're not careful.
That's right. And need to get everybody mobilized right now to make sure that we can hold those seats. Absolutely. And the other piece is, I just believe that there's some seats outstate that we can get.
Absolutely. And the good news is now that you've got a citizens council that's going to actually be drawing the map.
Right.
The maps will be drawn more openly, more feasibly. So we should be able to shake some trees and hopefully pick up some other seats. Because you're absolutely right. It makes no sense to see some people sitting in territory primarily because of the way they gerrymandered places like Flint and places like Saginaw and other places where they chopped it up.
Yep.
Exactly. And even some places in Oakland and Macomb County.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And Macomb County, this last cycle, Macomb County did pretty well. We've got 3 sisters that are actually sitting on the Wayne County Board of Commissioners now.
Macomb County, yes.
Macomb County, we got a couple of them that are actually mayors or deputy mayors and things of that sort.
Yep.
Need to shake up. See if we can't pick up one of those judgeships.
Yes, there's a lot of opportunity outside of Wayne County and even some parts inside of Wayne County as well. So there's a lot of opportunities. You see, Brian has joined us, Mama. Did you see Brian Love?
No, I didn't. Brian, are you there? I didn't see Brian.
Hey, my bear.
Oh boy, hey there. Hey there.
Hey, Brian.
Hey,
Brian.
What's up, Eddie?
I'm good, B-Love. How are you, man?
Man, I'm maintaining. I'm here.
That's a good thing. That is a good thing.
Yes, sir.
That's the thing. Brian, we're talking about relationships with Ray and how we know Ray and some Ray stories. Have you got some Ray stories and how you guys met? Of course, you probably met on one of my campaigns.
So I was telling somebody the first time I was door knocking, that's the first time I met Ray. So I learned how to knock on doors. Matter of fact, I could tell who was in the neighborhood around Schoolcraft and Evergreen knocking on doors. And I can remember the woman saying, I love Edna Bell. Love Edna Bell. I said, well, I love her too. That's why I'm knocking on doors. Ray was like, yeah, you better not say nothing else, but yeah, you love her too. I said, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh.
Yep, and I've been a mess ever since.
All right. Yes. Well, you were a mess before then, so.
You would know.
To tell you how far back Brian goes with Alicia, to the days when Brian was at the house for something and they were going to a store or something, and one of the neighbors had not met Brian yet, and he hollered across the street, "Hey, young man!"
Oh yeah,
to see one of our girls. We don't allow that around here.
I was like, I'm the backup, man. I'm the backup. I'm on your team.
Brian has been with us since my 8th grade year, 1983. That's how long Brian has been with us.
Yeah.
And like I said, he met Ray soon thereafter. So he's known Ray just as long as we have.
Yeah. It's great. I probably, I probably knocked out between you and your sister. It's probably a couple of guys I knocked out.
It's not that kind of show.
Yeah, this is a family show. Well,
Family show.
Yeah, well, be all right.
Everybody out today.
We
Besides
family.
that, you've been sick. You better stay well.
I
You
am.
know, you got a lot more to do. We were just talking about you guys getting together as A-team number 2 or A-team something. Eddie will figure that out. That's on Eddie to do.
Well, you know, Eddie and Ray allowed me, they told me, I forgot whose funeral it was because we lost so many great leaders over the last couple of years. But Eddie said, Brian, come on, you sitting with us. I said, oh, I'm in the 18 now? Because I wasn't going to sit unless I had full permission. Because it's an honor.
That was at Gerard's funeral.
Yeah. Yeah, I said, oh man, that brought me to tears almost as much as burying Gerard. I said that because that's an esteemed honor to be part of that group, because not only because they fight and advocate strongly for the city of Detroit, but for the folks in it, the issues that affect the city of Detroit, and for individuals, our families. I mean, we support each other's families when we see each other.
Yep.
You know, it's not surprising for somebody in one of our families to be on one of each other's campaigns.
True.
Yep, you taught us that.
So many lessons that Ray has taught so many of us, you know. I mean, we have 1,000 stories, but you know, I was listening to somebody talk about, I didn't know who Ray was. I just know he was the ticket guy because he had tickets and everything.
Yeah.
And then she began to know the power of Ray Solomon in the city. But Ray was everywhere all the time, and you know, and I would be embarrassed. I'm like, good Lord, Ray, you more places than me. You double my age. And you all over the place.
You know, one of the more recent story I have of Ray that shows to, you know, him supporting our folks in our community was I was at a previous organization work lobbying, and we were bringing in a new state. I was the state outreach director. We were bringing in a new state director, and actually it was Lindsay Huddleston. And so folks assumed that because I didn't get that spot, that there was going to be friction between the two of us. Before I could tell Ray that actually, I was like, man, I was begging for Lindsay to get that position. Ray already had support behind me. We had an event in Detroit to welcome Lindsay, not just to the state for that position as our state director, but also to give Lindsay a platform. Not only did he support me, he supported me and Lindsay because that's who Ray is. And we probably had over 100 people at this event. He brought resolutions from the county and the city of Detroit. I just asked Ray to come. That's all I asked. Ray brought the whole party, him and Abena. He and Abena both brought resolutions. I said, man, I'm gonna be on them dinner for a long time. And they never asked for anything in return. But that's how they are. They like, you know, you part of the team, you part of the family. We gotta make sure you straight, but we also gotta make sure you and Lindsay straight. And Lindsay and I cracked up because we're like, man, we got no issue with each other, but they were making sure, right? You know, we were together and we were supporting each other. And actually working with Lindsay, that was one of the best opportunities I had in my career. And part of that's because what Ray and Abena brought that day to that evening, just reminding us what we already knew and just reinforcing that, you know, we in this together. If we don't watch out for our own, then, you know, why are we even doing this?
So right. So true.
Absolutely.
So true.
And I think it's so important that we not let those positions go vacant. We've still got to have people like Ray and like Abena, people still doing those same kinds of things. That's what they would have wanted. They'd be real upset if there was a vacancy and nobody filled it.
Right.
And nobody continued to do the kinds of things that have been done for these 40 years or more. So yeah, we've got to make sure that we put people in place who can do those kinds of things. Make sure the community is still made aware of all sorts of events. I mean, precinct delegates. Abena was a precinct delegate lady.
Right,
She made sure that
right.
precinct delegates had all their information filled out, took the forms down. So we've got to make sure we've got people in place who can continue to do those kinds of things. That's how we keep communities alive and keep communities going and making them thrive and get better and better and better.
Yep. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Totally agree.
Mhm.
That's you know, that's what you've been teaching me since I was knocking on doors for you on Schoolcraft, Evergreen. You know, Eddie just took a hold of me soon as he just met me. I can't even remember what campaign it was. It was so many campaigns ago. He said, okay. Yeah, and what I love about Eddie is he will listen. He doesn't do a whole lot of talking, but when he talks, you better be listening. and he'll let you talk and he'll listen. Then he'll be like, okay, that's right. That's wrong. That's wrong. You do that. You definitely ain't doing that. And I'm like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And, he just gives good advice. He doesn't do it from a place of, trying to be anybody. Now he comes from a place of love and empowerment for our folks. And
we learned that from Ray. Ray had that down pat.
Yeah.
He did. He really did.
Yep.
He did.
Yeah, you could just see him sitting back in one of those chairs, not saying a word,
Right.
just listening, meeting going on, just listening.
Mm-hmm.
And then before the end, he would say, well,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, did you think about this?
Let me talk to you, son. I got many of those.
There you
I got
go.
a whole bunch of those. Let me talk to you,
There
son.
you go.
Absolutely.
I'll never forget. We were up at the T one time, and I think it was one of those fish fries. And one of the young people came up and wanted to bend Liz Jackson's ear. Now, the last thing you ever want to do is interfere with Liz Jackson at the T on Fish Fry Friday. That's
I'm
her
telling
time. She got time. She said, young man, let me hold on a second, sweetheart. Just hold on. Ray, come over. She ran away over. She said, Ray, take this young man in the parking lot or take him out to the side somewhere. Listen to what he's got to say and see if you can help him. I mean, Ray did not. He just grabbed the young man, just walked outside, had a conversation.
Yeah. And you better not mess with my Bell or one of the Bell sisters. It's gonna be a problem.
Right.
It's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be like, son, you're gonna have to hold me back. This guy's giving such and such a problem. I'm like, then he told me who it was who was giving the problem, and it was one of y'all. I said, oh, hey, you gotta come get me and Ray, because it's about to be a problem. He was like, I shouldn't even have told you. I said, you the one train me. I don't even know why you told me.
Right.
Yeah, well, we're just so happy that he was around. And, even back just a couple of years ago when we could go outside, we were at Congressional Black Caucus in DC. Right. He was still hanging tight and hanging with us. And we were doing our thing, going to the sit-in offices and going to all the receptions. And he, just out there doing what he do. Like you said, quiet, but if he said a word, he had a word of wisdom to give to you. So I just really appreciate all the work that he did with Mama, with Kathy Garrett, with Brenda Jones, with everyone, because if he was with you, he was with you. Right. There was loyalty, unlike anything else. And if he loved you, he loved you. If he didn't, he didn't. He'd tell you that too. But if he was loyal to you, and he was there through thick and thin, no matter what. So I just love that about him. I think we all appreciate and love his loyalty and his friendship to those people who he believed in.
Yeah.
Ray
would show up everywhere. I never forget, it was late 80s, maybe early 90s. We were at the North Oakland County NAACP dinner up in Pontiac. And who walks in but Ray? And I said, bro, what are you doing up here? He said, I'm just here trying to find out what's going on, man. I said, well, come on, sit at the table with me. I'll never forget that. NAACP, Northern NAACP in Pontiac. And here comes Ray, out of the blue. All right, sit on down, man, have a seat. But he would go anywhere. He would go anywhere for a cause. Anywhere.
Yes, he would. Yes, he would. We were in Las Vegas one year for a conference between the National Association of Black County Officials, the Airport Minority Conference, and one other national minority group. And Ray was my right hand. Ray was helping to organize that and working through that. We had a ball, but we were all over the place. We would go to everywhere you could think of, and Ray was always there, making a way, moving and shaking. Everybody knew who Ray was, and they responded appropriately. So, we've got we can never fill the shoes, but we're going to have to find a way to continue some of the activities that Ray
legacy.
Absolutely, the legacy must live on. That will be our charge, to make sure that the legacy lives on. So after all of this is over, we're going to have to all get together and see how we're going to honor him. It can be, I don't know, a Ray Scholarship, Community Awards Scholarship, or foundation, or something, but we've got to find a way to honor. have to do. That's that would be appropriate for him and for all those who loved him. Well, gang, thank you. Eddie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Brian, as always, thank you. Alicia, my dear, thank you. Appreciate all of you coming on and helping me do this tribute to my friend.
All right.
Yep, anytime.
Of
Okay.
course.
All right.
Love you.
Love you guys.
Have a
All
Love you all.
bye-bye.
We'll see you Thursday and Friday.
Yep. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Community Bell with your host, former Wayne County Commissioner Edna Bell. This broadcast was brought to you by WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, our website, www.wvtcradio.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users. If you've enjoyed this broadcast, tell a friend to tune in. We'll see you next Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern for the Community Bell Show, right here on WVTC Radio Detroit.